A blessed day to each and everyone, and again, welcome to another professional development. And for today, we're going to talk about the principles of school management and operations. To begin with, let's talk about principles of school management. For every school, it needs to have a system, and that system will going to aid in the working conditions of teachers, administrators, so that they can work hand in hand. Of course, in the school system, they should provide a simple, clear, specific, and effective goals so that it can communicate in a right manner the rules and regulations for everybody in the system. Of course, the goals should have consistency when it comes to approach. It must have consistency in the process, and also it must have consistency in terms of the actions. The Department of Education is the one who administered all the rules and regulation pertaining to education in the Philippines. They regulated our education system, and also they are the one who is currently providing a school-based management system. Of course, they are the one who's giving us the curriculum and allocations of funds for every schools. Of course, if we're going to do a resource management, if you will become an administrator, of course, you will maximize the utilization that is at hand so that the goals of the administration will be achievable. Of course, it composed of the facilities, the equipment, financial resources, information technology, and the labor or the human resource, and also it encompass ideas that includes functional and non-functional. This is the process of the school-based system. Of course, there is an input wherein these are the finance, physical property, student readiness, the ability of the teacher, and the parental support. Of course, as we go along the process, the school culture is there, the motivation level, the instruction method, the time of learning, and the leadership skills. If there is an input, if there is a process, then there should be a desirable output. And the output should, of course, lead into student achievement. The school-based management, this is a means of decentralizing when it comes to decision making that comes from the central office, regional office, the division level, and down to the school level. Of course, if it is being decentralized, the responsibility is being passed to the principal, teachers, parents, students, and other school community member. And the intention here is to unite. And the school have to conform. Of course, they have to operate within a set of centrally determined policies. For the SBM, or the school-based management, we have the following principle. If one is an administrator, of course, you are responsible in planning, organizing, staffing, leading, or directing. So this is the Pole C. Once again, the planning, organizing, staffing, leading, or directing and controlling an education institution, and the purpose here is to accomplish the educational goals. And when we talk about educational goals, this will going to lead towards students' achievement. School management has its principles, and they are of the following. Number one, a principle of well-defined goals. Of course, the goal should be measurable, and it has a clear direction to school heads, and this will going to lead them on how they will conduct school activities. And of course, organization is very, very important. Next, we also have the principle of conducive learning. Here, the management should have an eye with activities which will going to establish a good learning and healthy activities in the school. Principle of responsibility. This is an important principle wherein more is more or less involved in the educational process, and we have to take responsibility so that we can able to share the work. For the principle of equality, this involves the school activities where we will get our equal facilities, rights, and opportunities in doing our duties. Principle of cooperation. If this came into success, of course, a greater cooperation is needed, and this should be ensured among the different persons in the organization when it comes to educational management. The principle of creativity. This is about the effort which we make in the utmost manner to make the teaching learning process in the school in a creative and innovative manner. For the principle of the rule of law, all the staff, administrators in the school, of course, should follow the rules and regulation that had been implemented. For the principle of community involvement, they must work so that it can involve the community when it comes in decision making, planning, motivation, and other factors that contribute to the learning process. How are we going to manage school finance if you are an administrator? Of course, you are responsible for the annual budget, and this should be in line with the annual improvement plan. Of course, school heads and principals should control the funds with minimal fiscal autonomy. This entails the reporting, recording, and accountability on the school finances. For the school property, these are the plans, the policies, procedures, health and safety, and how are we going to manage the property in the school premises. For managing the student readiness, this will going to give an ample time in terms of mastery of skills, concept, and here we have to develop learners, and it should be a lifelong one so that they will be prepared in tertiary education if they're going to develop their skills, if they're going to pursue entrepreneurship or employment. Parental support is needed as well, and the ability of the teachers. Of course, teachers are being trained and they have the rights and responsibility and knowledge that they should be applied in their attended trainings. For parental support, of course, they are the one that's responsible as partners in the learning process. School culture, of course, there is a single school culture. What is the culture when it comes to academics, when it comes to the data, the behavior, and the climate of the school? For instruction, of course, the knowledge should be in an utmost manner. Better and qualified teachers are there, and of course, it should produce better student outcome. For leadership, of course, if you are a leader, you have to develop a certain idea and you have to plan it, and when you plan it, this entails launching it in the public. Of course, this should be aligned with the school improvement plan, and once it had been aligned, of course, one should reflect and put into action, and after implementing, then that's the time that we have to decide on the next step. And how the world's best performing school systems comes out on top. According to McKinsey and Company, September 2007, United Kingdom, that if a teacher is high performer, of course, the student will be also performing high. If a student has a low performing teacher, of course, they will also have low performance. So this entails on the hand of the teacher. For school employment, of course, the legislation and regulations should be promulgated, and the DepEd will going to act for the requirements pertaining to education practice that includes employment. If you are the administrator as well, you have to ensure that your staff will get paid. If there is a regular arrival of the salary or remuneration of your teachers or staff, then that means that you are meeting your commitments when it comes to finances. You are also involved in the appointing staff. You will seek the best appointees for your school. So, if this is the beginning teacher, the beginning teacher should be helped out by the principal, by a mentor, by a school-based induction coordinator, the body teacher, the colleague, and the supervisor, so that they can walk hand in hand and be able to guide the beginning teacher. For instance, how staff changes link leading learning. It is 29 June. A permanent teacher resigned yesterday, taking effect from end of the month. So if you are in a primary school, she is composite year 3 to 4 class. Or if you are in a secondary school, she's a teacher for health and physical education. You are lobbied by some staff and your board chair to immediately advertise the position in the Gazette that closes at 5 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. So if you are an educational leader, what are you going to do about this? By noon tomorrow, are you going to post a hiring position? Or how are you going to cope with the attrition rate in your school? Concurrence, here, our Civil Service Commissioner under the State Sector Act 1988, they are the one who is delegating the authority to the Department of Education Secretary to grant additional remuneration in addition to individual employment attributes. So here, you are also having a foresight for the individual and team performance. These are the development of your staff when it comes to expansions and how your teachers are performing. For the appraisal system, of course, you have to focus on the teachers, your teaching staff, and development. For instance, you have a complaint about teacher performance. So during your first month of being a principal, you have fielded 3 expressions of concerns about Mr. Team, a permanent teacher failing to provide his students with quality teaching. 2 of the concerns came from other staff and 1 is from a parent you listened to at the latest school get-together. The word concerns is used because no one has specifically used the words complaint or competency or committed their views to paper. So what are you going to do? Are you going to reprimand the teacher? Are you going to talk with the teacher? Are you going to dismiss the teacher? And we can able to watch on Paano Maging Mahusay na Leader by Bo Sanchez. So being a leader means there are a lot of responsibility that we're going to take to our hands. But what matter is that we plan, we organize, we direct, we control, and we also always have to ask guidance and assistance from God, from our supervisors, from our one-up manager, so that it will be successful. Because at the end of the day, our output should be directing towards students' achievement. That's it for today, and thank you so much. Until my next vlog, bye, and God bless everyone.